I think the biggest problem is that in the fraternities and sororities, and this is me personally speaking, there's an idea that that you are to be, if you're in a fraternity, then the idea is that you are going to demonstrate what it means to be a man, and that means a lot for different people. Unfortunately, sometimes for the people in that organization, if you don't fit what it means to be a man, they may reject you. But at the same time, I think in all the organizations, you have lesbian and gay individuals. Now, if there is a transgender person who wants to be in a fraternity, of course there would be a problem because what they see is not man, even if their birth certificate says man or something like that. So I think the only issue is the people who are presently in that organization and what they feel being a man or a woman looks like or acts like. But even still, you have people who bend those rules constantly, every year, every
to answer the question, no. None of the 9 organizations have anything in our Constitution which forbids someone to become a member depending on their sexual orientation. I think what Tracy was saying is correct. You have people in the organization that they take upon themselves to interpret what our founders or their founders meant by what is a final woman or what is a man. I'll give you 2 examples of how it goes, 3 examples actually, how it goes like that. The first example is I went to a conference where it was graduate and undergraduate members from North and South Carolina. And at the time, my international president was speaking. And so it was come dressed in your white, your Zeta white. So everyone came in, myself included, stockings, this is like January, stockings, heels, nice dresses, nice suit, except for the sorority sister, Sarah, from South Carolina. Sister stepped up in her button-ups, her Stacey Adams was clean. When she walked in, everybody gave her love, because this is Sarah, this is my sister, this is someone who everyone else is dressed in traditional feminine attire, but yet she came in looking in masculine attire, but yet she's my sorority sister, so I give her love. That's one. The second is that there are abundance of gay Greeks on all the organizations. I'm a member of a Facebook group where it's gay Greeks. And every organization has multiple representation. So I'm not the only gay Zeta, and Tracy's not the only gay Sigma, or whatever. The third, which is more interesting, and this is something that's personal. Zeta had a situation where we had a young person, we'll put it like this, young person, who on a campus had been living her life, openly defining herself as a masculine identified woman. She was approached by members of her chapter to become a member of that particular chapter. So they offered her a bit of membership. She was voted in. She went through the process, doing her coming out when they do a little skit. The girls were doing a skit to Beyonce. She told her sorority sisters, I don't feel comfortable because the activity, the gestures were too feminine. So she didn't want to participate. So she didn't. She didn't participate. You know, basically, you have your coming out show and she didn't want to bump and grind. So she didn't participate. But yet, her line sisters gave her love. The people that offered her the bid gave her love. Well, those girls graduated. And so we had other girls who made this girl's life a living hell. I mean, she identified as a he. They basically, like, introducing her to people would use the word pronoun she, not like, oops, my bad, but like she, like, say something. Basically, it got to a point where she felt no love from neither end. She went to her advisor, she went to another graduate sorority sister who basically reinforced the bad behavior. It escalated to the point that she decided to take all her Zeta stuff and put it in a trash can, put it in a trash bag, and dump it on the doorstep. Well, the Zeta sued her because that's Zeta property. So anyway, long story short, so she basically was in D.C. and she had an experience with that particular chapter that was not very welcoming. After the story broke, it was in the newspapers and this, that, and the third, a lot of sorority sisters from across the nation reached out to her saying, if you had only reached out to let someone other than your cluster know. You're in D.C. There is gay sorors in Howard, Georgetown, everywhere. If you had only reached out, if you believe that you join an organization for sister love and sisterhood and final womanhood, it's not for you to, it's not for, this is my personal opinion. And as you can tell, I feel very strongly about this. Unless your name is one of my 5 founders that's in my handbook, you're not the person that defines what a Zeta is. Your opinion about who and what I do when I'm not in the presence matters little to me. If I'm living up to my ideals, then you have no right to tell me I'm not a good Zeta. Or if Tracy's doing what he's supposed to do about his founding principles just because he may date men, his frats have no right to tell him he's not a good frat brother. If you believe in an organization, and this goes for all organizations, if you believe in what your organization is supposed to stand for, you believe in the organization's mission, not the individuals. You should be able to stand on your own 2 feet and tell whoever's giving you shade, listen, I'm sorry, did I miss the memo? But you, well, some people can't say this. You didn't start this here. You're not the end all be all. So
when I joined Phi Alpha Nu, it was relatively a young organization, and the members in the organization made me feel whole. I joined them because I loved what they stood for. I loved how they presented themselves every day, not just in public, but you know, in their family settings, but also because they wanted to, the vision that they wanted was a vision that I wanted. So it was like what I wanted for my life. That's why I joined Phi Alpha Nu, and I love the organization to this day. That's my family. You can't choose your family, but I chose this family.
I would say first that I feel like when I was looking at different Greek organizations, I would always come back to Theta Xi Theta, and it felt like at one point I was almost kind of comparing, and I started talking to one of the founders, and every time I wrote her, it was like, it was no question. Before I even got a chance to close the window out, she was writing me back with any question. And I started seeing the bond that everybody had, and I started seeing how they presented themselves, and it wasn't like they were just saying that they did all this stuff. It was actually evidence to back up that they were doing what they said that they were doing. And once I started getting to know everybody, I noticed that it was a family, and I really liked the bond that they had. And once I got into the interest group, and I seen like the different conversations that were going on, and I was like, you know, this is great. I like how they're sitting here and they actually want to take the time to get to know us, and we actually can sit here and have a hands-on with them as well. And it was like the more I started getting to know everybody, I was like, okay, this is destined. This is what I'm supposed to do. And now that I've crossed, it's like I feel like I'm complete and I'm whole. And I know that I have lifelong friends, family, and it's like I don't know. It's like they empower me to be a better person. And just to have a conversation with one of my brothers is like I could be here, and when I get off the phone, I'm here. And it's just like it's like we all pick up where we lack off for each other, and everybody understands each other. We take the time to understand each other. We take the time to understand what's going on with each other, and we take the time to actually get to know each other. It's not like, okay, here's your letters and colors, I'll talk to you on Broadhead Weekend. Like, we talk to each other, we understand each other, and we know each other. Like, I can complete their sentences, they can complete my sentences. So it's like, it's destined.